Yeah, good morning, everybody. This is Captain Basu back with your tutorial number 6 for ships operation and management. And now in this chapter, we will talk about accounting. So there was a famous saying by this your Greek shipping tycoon, Onassis. What he once said was, the successful ship owning was 95% careful accounting. So many purposes, ship owners have a background in finance or banking. So accounting, in fact, any business you do, you need to keep an account of what is happening with your money. And particularly in case of ship, first of all, there are, of course, debit and credit. How much is the ship earning and how much you are spending for various type of activities of a ship, right from maintenance to crew wages, to port dues, to bunkers, to victualling, to repairs, to dry docking, to insurance. So everything need to be paid, and one need to understand that what you are earning and what you are spending. That means your earning should be more than what you spend. So an enterprise that spend more than it earns will not survive. The exception is if it is subsidized for public fund as a social service. So only thing, a lot of government projects you see, that means the government subsidizes. The government put in for subsidy, you put in more money. Certain part of that expense is taken by the government, and so it is given to the public. But in shipping, mostly, if it is a private enterprise, you don't get that unless there are, for a national carrier, there is something that the flag state asks for certain your job to be done for the greater interest of the public, then possibly the country can subsidize the ship owner. But otherwise, there is no subsidy you usually get. Whether intended as a profitable business or as a non-profit making undertaking, it is necessary to produce record of income and expenditures, commonly known as a set of books. So this chapter, what we'll do, we'll seek to provide an introduction into the basic of accounting matter in shipping business context. So accounting. Accounting is the complete package of all planning and managing of the company's financial affairs. Bookkeeping is part of accounting. So under that, provides a permanent record of all mercantile transactions. Number 2, provides the effect of each transaction and the combined effect of all transactions upon financial positioning of the enterprise. So the rest of the accounting process involves deciding which commercial activity will be economical, viable, while capital item to purchase, and how to raise money to purchase capital item. So this is a process, we have to see which involves you're declining with the commercial activities, deciding whether commercial activities will be economical, and what capital item. Suppose you need to purchase something, you have to, in a ship, you have to purchase some your machinery, some motor, some parts. So which capital item to purchase and how to raise money to purchase that capital item. So the account department needs to ensure there is sufficient money to pay bill at the correct time. In shipping, the default is not taken, in a good spirit. So the payment need to be done in time. So investing surplus money so that it earns interest when not needed for immediate use in another important function. Anything that affects the financial position of the company comes under the heading of accounting. Okay. Now, one of the main activities, see, a ship is the basic work of a ship or job of a ship or a ship owner is to earn money investing on a ship. And how will the ship earn money? By carrying cargo. And for carrying cargo, what do the owners get? He gets a freight. So freight is the only single thing which a ship owner earns. And then there is one freight, and against that there are umpteen number of deductions which is going on. So the freight collection is crucial function in shipping and chartering because it ensures the timely receipt of earned revenue and directly affects the liquidity, cash flow, and financial health of the ship operator and owner. Failing to collect freight or higher promptly can lead to contract breach, loss of leverage, expensive legal proceedings, serious operation disruption, making proactive arrangement and swift action essential. See what happens is, now in ship, the freight usually or mostly, it is, you do not give any credit to anybody. The freight need to be collected. And once you collect the freight, then only you release the bills of lading. That what the shippers or the charters want. And after getting that freight, the owners need to do a lot of expenses. So it is very important. And it is very important to maintain the cash flow. Cash flow means your cash comes in, and then you have to also make a lot of expenses. The ship owners need to meet umpteen number of expenses to keep a ship running, which includes the wages, maintenance, as I mentioned you, pay for the port, pay for the canal. So any delay can be a breach of contract. Usually what happens is, suppose in dry bulk shipping, when you make a charter party, usually the freight is to be paid within, say, 3 banking days after completion of loading. So 3 banking days means within 3 banking days, suppose you are finishing your cargo on Monday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, by Thursday, the money should be in your account. If there is a weekend coming when the banks are closed, possibly it could go up to 4 or 5 days. So if the money is not coming within this, the 3 banking days or 5 banking days, then you are in a breach of contract. So that can lead to serious your issues. And if it is getting unreasonably delayed, it can get into a legal issue. That means if the ship owner does not get the money, he has got all the right to hold back the cargo. He may not discharge the cargo unless he gets his money, what is called as lien on the cargo. So freight and hire are the core earning of ship's contract, forming the backbone of profitability for shipping companies and chartering business. Effective collection enables 1, stable cash flow for meeting operational expenses, maintenance, personal expenses, minimizing exposure to credit risk. The longer payment is delayed, the higher the chance of to complete loss or extensive recovery procedure. The expensive recovery procedures means legal cases. So seamless business operation through liable funds for voyage and services, maintaining a strong credit policy and supporting new charter relationships. So these are the points which are important to be noted. Accounting, sequence of non-collection. What happens is, if you are not getting your freight, if the freight hire is not collected, the ship owner faces breach that can compromise not only immediate but also future earnings. Vital operational leverage is lost. For example, the right to exercise lien on cargo or sub-hire becomes unenforceable or risks further complication if not done in time or without care for local law. So what is that? Suppose, in a short voyage and you are not getting your freight and your vessel reaches, and if you suppose discharge the cargo. So in that case, you have lost the lien. That means you cannot protect because the receivers has come and taken the cargo. So how are you going to protect yourself? Of course, there's a legal recourse. That is again very time consuming. So you are not holding any asset against which you can ask for the freight to be paid. So enforcement is very important. And of course, there are certain laws or local laws you must know that where you are going. I mean, will the law allow you to have lien, or what are the laws which can be hindrance for recovering of that freight which you have not been paid. Persistent non-payment may escalate into costly legal dispute, vessel arrest, loss of cargo, and reputation damage for both the parties. So naturally, nobody wants to go into a legal case because legal case is, of course, you have to engage your legal personnel or go for arbitration, and these are not cheap. And of course, these things get reported, and somehow it gets notice everybody that this ship had a problem with so and so charterers. Of course, it is more of a damaged reputation for the charterers because you are the victim as a ship owner. So significant delay in payment can lead to cash flow crisis, affecting wages. Suppose the cash does not come in, wages have to be paid, maintenance, bunker need to be paid, port dues need to be paid. So this is the consequence one after another if the collection is not in time. Action and remedies. So what action and remedies you can have if you are not getting your hire in time or freight in time? When hire, freight or hire is unpaid, shipping company should, one, promptly send formal demand letter followed by reminder and engage on the operational, legal and accounting department. Number two, considering using contractual right, particularly excising lien on the cargo. So as I mentioned, you lien means you hold back the cargo in your custody. Lien does not mean you physically hold the cargo in your ship. The lien also you can have, you discharge the cargo to the port and instruct the port not to give delivery of the cargo to the receiver unless there is an express communication from your end to the port. And engage with the operational, legal and accounting department. Consider using contractual right, particularly excising lien, as I mentioned to you, sub-hire or sub-freight, but always check local jurisdiction, bills of lading term, and timing to avoid breaching contract or violating receiver's right. So I have seen personally one of those issues where there is a chain of charterers. That means this has happened when the market was booming in 2007, 2008. Now, there's a ship owner. He has given his charter, his vessel has given his vessel to a long-term charter, to a charterer at X price. The market goes up. That charterer has got the option of hiring the vessel, subletting the vessel. He gives to a second person. That person also, the market goes up. He gives it to a third person. And in that case, we had 5 of the charterers in one CP chain. That means there's a head owner, and between head owner and the last, there are 4 charterers. So what happens is, when the market came down drastically, then one of the fellows, they defaulted in payment. So what happens is, in sub-charter, you are not, everybody is paying to the head owner. You are paying to your charterer. Suppose I give it to you, you give it to your friend, he gives it to his friend. So that friend gives to other friend, then it comes to other, then comes to you, and then comes to me as a ship owner. So what happens is, if in between, if one person is not getting the freight, so he is unable to give it to his charterers. So there is a break. So I have seen that. So we fixed a vessel loading of steel cargo from Hajira to Kuwait. The vessel came in, vessel loaded. Promptly the charter, your freight was paid. And when the vessel reached there in Kuwait, the owners refused to berth the vessel. So then the charterers called us up, said, what happened? The vessel is not going to discharge. So then I contacted your charterers. The charterer says, well, I have not got the money from the previous charterer, so I am unable to pay the money to the head owner. So then after a few days, the head owner came in, a good person from Taiwan. So he says, well, I'm the ship owner, I take responsibility. So he came and discharged the cargo. But in between these charterers, without paying the money, he ran away. So you can come into such a situation where, the ship and the cargo and everybody get into issue. So evaluate legal action for breach of contract or unjust enrichment supported by solid documentation like bills of lading, charter parties, and delivery receipt. So you need to also understand in bills of lading what is mentioned, in charter parties what is mentioned regarding your freight payment and your delivery of cargo and lien. So prevent further non-payment by screening creditworthiness, integrating robust contract clauses, and strengthening internal control. So you have to have your own. See, before fixing your ship, you must also check the creditworthiness of the charterers. Will the charterers be able to pay that money? So we do some background check. We check with people who have done the business with these people, because there are two things. One is freight. The freight need to be paid immediately within 3 or 5 days. But another issue is when you come into a situation of demurrage. That means due to charterers' operational issues, the vessel has taken more time than given to them for loading or discharging. So there is a demurrage payable. So that also can reach a very big amount. So getting that money out of the charterers also sometimes is a big task. And many times, sorry, I have seen in my career that we have the owners have gone for arbitration because the amount was more than $300,000. So they went for arbitration, and of course they got in your favorable order, and it was paid. But it took about 7 to 8 months to go for arbitration and get that money. One of the major expenses which the owner takes is the port disbursement. So what is port disbursement? Are the various fees and expenses incurred when the vessel calls at a port. So these include charges for pilotage, towage, berthage, port dues, cargo handling, waste disposal, other port necessities for the vessel's arrival, stay, and departure. Port disbursement cover costs related to vessel, cargo, and related services during the port call. So disbursement is something which the owner pays. And before coming to a port, what owner does, he has to appoint an agent at the port to handle his vessel. So he goes to the agent before he fixes his vessel to the port for coming to the port with cargo, and he tells my vessel so and so. He gives the vessel description, which must include your gross tonnage, net tonnage, vessel size. So the agent, and he tells them what cargo is expected to be loaded. So agent with experience, they say, okay, well, this cargo, you will take so many days for loading. Of course, there is also a charter party clause. Charter party says, this is a load rate. So the owner also knows that, okay, my vessel is coming as per my charter party. I'm supposed to stay for, say, 5 days in port. So send me a disbursement, port disbursement for 5 days. So what the agent does, he calculates as per the present tariff and whether other expenses involved. He gives a quote to the ship owner. So that is called as port disbursement, PDA, what do you call it? So now the owner knows this is the money which he has to give to the agents for making the payment to the port, which also includes the agency fees, because the agent won't work for free. He needs to have a fee for that. So the money is sent to the agents for making the payment to the port. Mind you, no port will allow you to sail unless you pay till the last penny, the port dues. So there is no, the port does not give any credit. Or you cannot say, okay, I will make the payment next week and let me go. No port will do that. Nobody will give you your clearance, port clearance. We call it PC, unless all the dues related to your ship is paid to the port, customs, everybody. So what is the role of the port agent? The port agent acts as a local representative of the ship owner, operator or charterer. They manage and coordinate all aspects of the vessel's port call, including licensing with port authorities, custom, immigration. Let me briefly tell you about the agent. Now, who are the port agent? It's an entity which the owner need to appoint. Now, when a ship comes in from outside, the port does not, they need somebody who represents the ship on all aspects. Because when the ship is coming, he's coming from a say, foreign country. The master, the crew could be a foreigner, knowing a different language. So for the communication with the port, with the ship, between port and the ship and the authorities, you need somebody who is local, who understands the local law, the local regulation, and he will be communicating that to the ship and of course to the ship owner. So anything which the port has got, they won't go to the ship, they will go to the agent. They will go to the ship agent and tell him, well, this is what I require. Suppose a notice has to be given, some instruction given to the master. They all will go through your agent. Similarly, if the captain wants to tell something to the port, he will tell the agent, and agent on behalf of the captain or the ship owner will go to the port. Any communication with the charterer, suppose you are for the shippers or receivers, so it has to go to the port, to the agent. So suppose the shippers will tell the port agent, and the port agent will go and inform the master, because in that the communication is easy and they are involved. So they are the go-to man for the ship. There's a reason port agents are also called the husbanding agent. They become the husband of the vessel, or they do everything related to the vessel while the vessel is in port. So the port agent acts as a local representative for ship owner, operator. They manage and coordinate all aspects of ship's port call, including licensing with authorities, handling custom clearance, immigration documentation, and regulation compliances. Now, when the cargo comes in, a manifest is filed. Suppose if there's a crew change, suppose somebody is going out, somebody is coming in, so they have to come through proper immigration. The crew is going out, immigration and custom they have to do. Organize essential services, like when the vessel is coming in, the agent declare to the port that so-and-so vessel is coming in so-and-so time. So for the vessel to come in, the port has to arrange for pilot, tugboat. Suppose the vessel needs bunkering, it needs fuel at your port. Agent is the person who is going to handle supply your water, waste disposal, very important nowadays. Your garbage has to go out, and repairs and crew change. If you have got a repair in the workshop to be brought in, the agent coordinates with the workshop. If there is a survey to be done, the agents coordinate with the surveyor, telling them where is the vessel, when is the right time to go for the survey. So agent has got a very, very serious job to be done when the ship is in port. Okay. Coordinating cargo operations. The agent's also responsibility is to coordinate the cargo operation for loading and unloading. So what happens is, mostly, because I have worked for agency also for quite some time, so we keep a person on board. Most of the agents will keep a person on board 24/7. during the operation. And he coordinates. Suppose there's the issue, no, that there is, suppose the cargo is not coming in, or the port has got some issue with the vessel. The master has got issue with the stevedores. The stevedores got issue with the master. So he's a man there immediately to solve the problem without getting into the issue becoming bigger. So all coordinations are done by the agent for loading and discharging, especially when the cargo is liner in or liner out. That means the owner pays for or arranges for the loading and discharging of the cargo. Managing financial transactions related to port services by preparing handling disbursement account, estimate disbursement account, PDA and advance fund. Now, as I told you earlier, so what the agents or what the owners ask the agent for when before the vessel comes in, he asks him for a PDA. This is a estimated port disbursement account. And whenever the vessel comes in, before that, the agent need to be made good with fund. So we call it advance fund. So pro forma disbursement account, PDA. This is an estimated statement prepared by the agent before vessel's arrival, listing anticipated port charges based on available information. It helps ship's owner operator budget for expected expenses and arrange for necessary funds in advance to ensure smooth operation during port call. So PDA typically includes port charge, port dues, pilotage, towage, agency fees, and other charges. So initially you send a PDA. That means your estimated expenses what the vessel is going to incur while she is in port. Then we send a FDA, that is final disbursement account, prepared after the vessel departs. So this account reconciles the actual incurred expenses with the estimated PDA, detailing all port cost and any supplements or adjustment needed. So after the vessel completes her operation in the port and she sails out, then all the invoices are collected. That means, there are port and, your stevedores or suppose bunker or any supplies you have made. Suppose some travel agent arrangement has been made. So everything is, and they all are sent to the owners for owner study. So that is the final amount. There is the final expenses which the owners have done, and they need to now square up the account. Now this advance fund, ship owners, operators typically provide advance fund to the port agent based on the PDA to cover expected port disbursement. So you send the money in advance before the vessel come in. This advance ensures timely payment to port authorities and service provided, avoiding delays or for avoiding delays and penalties. Because what happens is, if you have not paid the port, if the agent has not paid the port on behalf of the ship, now the port is not going to give a clearance for the vessel to sail. And your delays is going to again incur additional cost and sometimes penalties, So advance must be closely monitored and reconciled with the FDA after the port call. So usually what happens is that the owners, they send the port expenses, which has to go in the port, they send it and they hold back little money. And then when the final disbursement is made, the agent reconciles, the owner reconciles all the invoices and make the balance payment. So usually what happens, all the other service providers other than port, they give you certain credit. They say, okay, I can wait for 15 days or whatever, 30 days, So there are some credit terms. So you take that time and you get the invoices and then you all collect them, send to the owners, and the owners, after checking and cross-checking, send the balance money. After you receive that money as an agent, you disburse it back to your all those receivers and suppliers. So this is how a PDA looks like. If you see, this is a PDA of Dhamra. Now the vessel TBN date is given, port call Dhamra port, the vessel GRT, it has come for export, 60,000 ton cargo detail, free in, that means there is no expense on the owner for loading the cargo. NRT is mentioned. And of course, you see there's exchange rate mentioned. That is the exchange rate the port takes it, because port will possibly give you, and you have to convert it in INR, because what you receive the money INR, and you have to convert this and send to the owners that this is the exchange rate which has been used by the port. If you see on the left, port expenses, port dues, pilotage, berth hire, fuel charges, anchor charges, mooring, sustainability, gangway extension ladder charges, gangway security man, gangway sanitization, port environment safety charges, garbage collection, and GST. And this custom expenses means light dues. That's got GST. Cargo expenses like draft survey. When the vessel comes in, you need to have a bulk carrier, especially you have to have a draft survey. Other ships, it could be some other survey, tally survey and all. Then agent expenses. Agent, the fees is 2750. ITNOC expenses for getting that income tax. And so this is what exactly is your amount which you send to the owners. And owners basis that he will be giving you the money, that the top portion, port expenses, it need to be paid because there is no credit given. Others, for the surveyors, for other things, you can still ask them for those people for credit. So understand this. Nothing. It is very, very simple, and it individual. Your companies have got their own templates for this, so it's very easy to make this. Understand the calculation and settlement of demurrage and dispatch. Now, agent also sometimes can be involved in demurrage and dispatch. So, not always, but if you are your agency has got a broking team, they could be engaged. But for the owner, it is very important to understand what demurrage and dispatch is. It is morally your owner's concern. Demurrages and dispatch. Demurrages means the charterers have taken more time to load or discharge your vessel than agreed in the charter party. That is demurrage. Dispatches, the vessel has completed her operation, loading or discharging, before the time allotted. So if it is a case of demurrage, then the charterers need to compensate the owner. If it is a dispatch, that means the charters have done a very good job. So it is a bonus which the owner pays to the charter. There's the basic concept of demurrage and dispatch. Now, example, I've just given you. I have two examples. So demurrage is a penalty paid by the charterers to the ship owners for using the vessel beyond the agreed lay time. It compensates the owner for the delay and lost opportunities to use the vessel elsewhere. That means, suppose you have estimated that port, you are going to stay for say 5 days, and you have taken say 7 days or 8 days. So you have taken 2 extra. So all you could have done is you could have fixed the vessel, keeping in mind that you will be staying in that port for 5 days. Now your vessel is getting delayed. So possibly the other the business which you have done after this could get affected. So that's the reason. And for the extra 2 days you have taken here, you have there's a vessel operational cost. You are paying additional to the port. So all this cost you need to be compensated, because it is not your fault that the vessel has stayed for two days. So charters need to compensate the owner, or you can say penalty which they pay to the owners for keeping the vessel for longer duration. So like, let us say the agreed lay time is 10 days. The charter party says you can stay for 10 days in port for operation. Calculate the actual use of cargo operation, subtracting and allowing exception like non-working days or weather delays. Example, 2 days actual, 2 day exception. 2 days you don't count because there is rain and other delays. So rain, other delays, the charters is not supposed to pay because those are things beyond his control. So 10 days is adjusted. So if the actually adjusted time exceed the exit LACAN, calculate the excess time, that is suppose 11 days adjusted to 10 days, that is 1 day's excess. So multiply the excess time by the daily demurrage rate the charter party. Example, if it's $15,000 is the demurrage, so $15,000 is a demurrage which is to be paid by the charters to the owners. One more example. Suppose the agreed late time, the allowed time for loading discharging is 5 days, but the actual time taken is 7 days. Charter party allows you 5 days, you have taken 7 days, and let's presume the demurrage rate is $10,000 per day. So demurrage charge for the time that exceeds the allowed time is 5 days, actual time 7 days, excess time 7 minus 5 is 2, demurrage is 10,000. So 10,000 into 2 days is 20,000. So therefore, the charterer would owe 2,000 demurrage charge to the ship owner in this scenario. So very simple. And what happens at dispatch? The similar, suppose the vessel is given, say, 7 days for loading, and the vessel completes the loading in 5 days. So you have saved, suppose, 2 days. So naturally, the charter has done a good job. So he need to be, a bonus to be, suppose a bonus to be given. So the 2 days which we have seen is dispatch. So usually the dispatch is half the agreed amount of the demurrage. So in this case, suppose the daily demurrage rate is 10,000. Dispatch rate could be half of the rate, $5,000 per day. Dispatch you pay to the charterers. This dispatch. This is for demurrage, a reward paid by the shipowner to the charterers for finishing cargo operation early. Determine agreed lay time, calculate actual time. If actual time is less than, find the time saved, multiply saved by the agreed dispatch rate, usually half the demurrage rate, unless the charter party otherwise states. In many charter parties, you will find that the business is mentioned as free of dispatch. So that means if there is a dispatch payable, that means the charters have saved some time. Owners need not to pay that dispatch to the, because it's part of negotiation. To the owners need not to pay anything to the charters, but it should be specifically mentioned in the charter party that it is the business is free of dispatch. This is another example of your calculation. Now, settlement process. The party entitled to claim demurrage or dispatch must formally claim the amount post voyage. That means this, what we call a lay time statement. Now you need to, the owners or the operators, what they do, they make a statement, they make a lay time statement, and in that you can come to know if this is a demurrage or dispatch. So basis that you claim after the voyage is complete. The claim is typically settled in cash or adjusted against freight hire payment. Dispute may arise and often require negotiation or arbitration based on the charter terms. So there could be, adjusted. Suppose there is a load port demurrage, and you may say, okay, this demurrage has to be settled before the freight payment. Suppose this is charter party clause. So if there's a dispatch, so what can happen is the charterers can deduct that money and pay to the owner. And if it's a demurrage, so your freight plus demurrage you need to pay. So that is all part of the charter party, what is mentioned. Both parties must keep accurate time record and exceptions document to support claims. So this is one table I had made for you for demurrage and dispatch. Go through it for your understanding. Pause the video, understand this better. Okay. Now, monitoring detail and control with contractors and subcontractors such as tug, pilots, stevedore, terminal operators, essential in maritime operation to ensure smooth, effective, cost-effective port handling and cargo handling. These parties play crucial role in vessels port call and effective management, safeguard operational timeline, safety compliances, and fire control. So monitoring detail with contractors is very important. That means contractors could be, suppose you are engaging a stevedore, even when you are engaging agent, they are some sort of a contractor for you. So for a cost-effective port and cargo handling, you need to monitor these parties. So necessities for monitoring detail, compliance and contractual obligation. Contract with contractors and subcontractors often contain detailed obligation and performance standard that must be closely tracked to avoid dispute, delay, or substandard services. Missing contractual requirement can lead to financial loss, reputation damage, and arbitration claim. Now, contractual claim, I mean, your obligation is, the contractual obligation could be your charter party obligation. Your owners have, your charterers have agreed to load and discharge a certain rate per day. You as a owner also have agreed to present the vessel during the laycan. That is your obligation as a contractual obligation as a owner. You are supposed to present the vessel at a certain condition. That means the cargo holds and all. You are in a time charter. You must have, I mean, given some sort of a your assurance or in writing in the charter party that your vessel will do certain speed, and that certain speed, this is the your consumption of bunker and in certain weather condition. So these all are obligation as owner and as charterer. So if there is a breach somewhere, so naturally it can go to a dispute. And when you go to a dispute, it is negotiated. And if sometime, if you are unable to negotiate across the table between owners and charterers, it can go for arbitration. And naturally, it's a legal process, so there is a cost involved in it. Risk management. Various operational, safety, legal, and financial risk arises from interaction with third parties, service providers. Regular monitoring helps identify and mitigate this risk early, such as unsafe practices by stevedore or delay by tug operator, avoiding bigger operational disruption and potential penalties. So risk management, so your operation team of your company as a ship owner or operator, they have this ability for risk management. And also the agent plays the important role, because when the vessel is in port especially, the agent are the people who are on the ground. So they can always anticipate things and inform you, because they are your ears and eyes at the port. So they can anticipate a potential problem which is coming in. Suppose there is a cargo delay. So they tell you in advance, we anticipate the cargo is going to get delayed. Suppose stevedores, there is not sufficient gangs available. There is a cargo damage which has taken place while loading or while discharging or whatever it is. Because if the damage, naturally there is a claim. So they are the people who are going to tell you. So risk management is very important for the owner. Cost control and budget adherence. With many services built on various terms, that means time-based, volume-based, close supervision prevents cost overrun and unauthorized charges. This is crucial for maintaining profitability and avoid dispute related to port disbursement account and advance fund. Now, what happens is you need to have a cost control. So let's take the case of PDA. The agent gives you a estimated PDA, and you have planned your cash flow accordingly. Now, suddenly, if the agent comes in and says, no, I need $10,000 more, so that is not done. No, you have to ask him for justification by why it was not given to me earlier, why it is coming in now. So you have to see, is that what the money he is asking for, is it justified to be asked for? So similarly, so you have to have many checks and balances to ensure you are adhering to your budget and there is a cost control to avoid any dispute. Operational efficiency, effective coordination and communication, improve scheduling and resource allocation, assisting in meeting lake and provision, avoid demurrage, dispatch issues, and optimize vessels turnaround time. Delay or inefficiencies from contractors affect freight, higher collection, and overall voyage economics. So, if we find my experience is the efficiency of your operation team helps you exactly how much profit the vessel is going to do. Because the operation team, they keep on chasing the charterers, the stevedots, the agent, so that see, every time saved is money earned in shipping. So the your end idea is to ensure the vessel has the minimum time in port. So for that, anything which need to be done by the ship owner or the agent, and even the charters, sometimes they also do not want, because every charters want to earn some dispatch. So they will also try to do whatever best from their side. But anyway, somebody must be on top of it every time. So best practice for monitoring, dedicate your contract managers, assign specialized personnel to oversee contracts, as I mentioned to you, the operation team, regular performance reviews, conduct audit and assessment of contractor performance, safety compliance, financial accuracy, use key performance, use KPI and feedback to ensure service quality, clear communication reporting, maintain open documented communication channel with contractors to promptly resolve issues, update schedule and adjust a plan to need. See, contractors could be your anywhere. Suppose you're going for repair, they are contractors. Your stevedots are contractors. Suppose you are engaging some sort of major cleaning of cargo hold, you're engaging people from outside. They are the contractors. Even ship agents are contractors. So a clear communication is required between both, so that there is no your delay due to miscommunication. Risk and compliances. Utilize contract management software and risk metrics to monitor obligation, deadline, and compliance requirement simultaneously. Engagement of independent expert. When necessary, involve third-party consultant or inspectors to verify contractors' compliance and contract fulfillment objectively, and hereby reducing risk. See, many times we have seen when a vessel comes in the port, to assist the master in loading. So the owners, they engage a port captain. Now, what is the job of a port captain? You will say, why there's a captain, why you need a port captain? Because he is a local fellow. He can coordinate better between the charterers, stevedots, and the captain. So he can anticipate things. He can talk in the local language. So that helps in uh, expediting the vessel stay. Otherwise, suppose there is a vessel there, and suppose the chief officer who is handling the cargo is Ukrainian. So his English is not so good. And here the supervisor, they will mostly talk in the local language. So there is a big communication gap. Of course, the agent comes in, but sometimes these are quite technical. The agent person who is on board, he may not be that suitable to handle these technical issues. So that's the reason there is a port captain who is there to sort out this type of issues, clearing cargo, regarding storage, or regarding other things also. Monitoring, dealing with contractors, subcontractors, such as in dry dock, suppose, the vessel is going for your repair. So dry dock is a big thing. The vessel is laid up for maybe a week or 10 or 15 days, depending upon the work you are doing. your engine builders, workshops, suppliers of lubricant and bunkers, essential to in maritime operation for key several reasons. So, and these are all expenses, mind you. When you go to a dry dock, big expense. Engine repairs, big expense. Bunker, big expense. So you must have a, a monitoring mechanism. In dry dock, when you go, you just don't send the vessel to the dry dock. There is your engineering superintendent who goes there and stays. Possibly there are two or more than one person who is there to monitor that. So much of expense. There is no delay. The right job has been done. So necessity of monitoring, quality and compliance assurance, dry dock and engine builders perform critical technical and safety related services. Monitoring ensures they meet technical standard. As I told you, there are people, the superintendent goes on board into the yard and stays till the vessel is in the dry dock. Regulatory compliance and certification, which directly affects ship worthiness and safety. So when the vessel is in dry dock, what happens is there are so many jobs are done and your certificates also get renewed. So the class, your service gets involved. So the person who goes to attend the vessel, he coordinates with everybody, the port, with the class, and ultimate idea is to get that certificate, new certificate issued. Cost management and financial control. These contractors often involve significant expenditure. Monitoring contracts closely prevent cost overrun, unauthorized work, and inaccurate billing, ensuring expenditure aligned with the contractual term and budget. This helps protect the ship's financial interest. Okay. The next is operational scheduling and efficiency. Dry docking and major engine repairs are planned events, critically for vessel readiness. See, it is not that suddenly you decide you will dry dock the vessel. Vessel is dry docked once in a window of twice in a window of 5 years. So usually the dry dock, if it is done now, the next dry dock will be between 2.5 years. So it need to be planned. You need to plan your vessel's voyage so that the dry dock you have booked. It is not that you just go and park your car, park your vessel in the dry dock. You have to book the dry dock well in advance. The dry dock could be busy, so they will give you a window. Okay, you can get your vessel here in certain time, and I have got my dry dock ready, and then other jobs I can do. So you have to plan that your vessel is there in that time during the dry dock period. It will be very foolish. That means suppose you have got a dry dock in China and you have to take your vessel empty from say India to China, 13, 14 days voyage to do the dry dock. So what you will ideally do, you will try and see your vessel open somewhere near China so that you have a minimum ballast time after your discharge to go to dry dock. So this planning need to be done. So then safety and environmental compliances, fuel supply and lubricant quality impact environmental footprint and emission. Monitoring also ensures compliance with the MARPOL regulation and prevents pollution risk. Effective management of this contractors uphold safety and sustainability standard. So nowadays, your safety and environment has become a big priority for the ship owners. Okay, so we see regularly new regulations are coming, which are uh, made keeping MARPOL in mind. MARPOL is the marine pollution. So there are 6 annexes in MARPOL, and this pollution is not only oil. So it is oil, it is chemical going out of the ship, it is garbage going out of the ship, it is your ballast water going out of the ship, it is the emission from the engine going out of the ship, it is the sewage which is going out of the ship. They all come under MARPOL. So you have got a team on a ship owner who ensures this, because the fine for this MARPOL, if you do something and if you which is not permissible under the MARPOL, you can get into a big financial claim by the authorities. So thank you so much. We end this chapter 6 here. So on accounting, so go through it. Basically, what you understand is, as we started the beginning, so 95% of the job is accounting. No, if you are, you know how much you're earning and you are controlling expenditure, so the more money you make on your business. So thank you. We will meet again for the chapter 7 very soon. Thank you again.